My name is Tasha, and I've decided to do a little bit of a case study slash experiment on myself to explain why I believe so much in flexible dieting, or if it fits your macros, or flexible eating, however you want to think of it. Before I get into what I plan on doing, I want to give you a little bit of a background about myself, where I've come from, why I'm deciding to do this, and what I hope to gain from the entire experience in itself. Like I said, my name is Tasha. I am from Tampa, Florida. I'm born and raised here, and I'm currently a senior at USF, University of South Florida. I'm a psychology major with a minor in nutrition, and once I graduate this summer, I plan to attend the University of Tampa for their master's program in exercise and nutrition science. As far as my background goes with personal training, working with people, I became certified as a personal trainer through National Academy of Science of Sports Medicine in December 2011. And then when I followed up with my recertification, I became certified in sports nutrition. And then since then, I've got little certs in bodybuilding, resistance training, strength training, that kind of thing. But when I first started, I worked at a couple of large chain gyms, LA Fitness, Gold's Gym, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I was following in the footsteps of other trainers that I had seen. I was preaching the same advice I've heard them say to their clients. It was basically, eat clean. What that meant, I thought, was, no processed foods, no junk foods, definitely no fast foods. You ate at restaurants, that was very minimal. And it was eating plain stuff, like just plain ground turkey or lean chicken, only breast meat, no processed meats, definitely no steak or hamburger. It was lean, clean meats like that. No potatoes, not too many white starches. It was lots of broccoli and asparagus, green beans. I'm sure you've heard that before. And you're eating often, every 2 to 3 hours, 6 meals a day minimum, because we thought that that was supposed to rev your metabolism, which we know now that doesn't really happen that way. But that's what I preached to all my clients, because I really thought that that was going to work for them, even though I couldn't even maintain it myself. I tried many, many times to do the same thing I was preaching, and I would find that I would do it, and I would be really great at it for maybe a week or two, and I would fall off, because I wanted to have a beer when I went out to dinner. Or, I wanted mac and cheese. If you know me, you know mac and cheese is my favorite comfort food. I wanted to eat those things and pizza and have fun and enjoy what I was eating and putting into my body. So I kind of thought in the back of my mind, there's just no way that I can do this. If I'm telling my clients to do something like this and I can't do it myself, what kind of person or trainer does that make me? So I kind of, kept these rules in the back of my mind, and I kept searching for something else, looking for something else. There's got to be another way to do this. There's no way that everybody can sustain this type of eating and actually reach their goals and be happy, with the food that they're eating. I feel like food is supposed to be enjoyed. You're not supposed to just eat it just to sustain life. So I came across an article on bodybuilding.com that Dr. Layne Norton had written, and it kind of just answered all my questions. It kind of showed me that, there is another way to eat to reach your goals. And it doesn't have to be this starvation, deprivation diet to where you're restricted on all these rules. And it kind of opened my eyes to a lot of the things that it just made common sense that I never thought of before. So I started, kind of becoming obsessed with this idea of flexible eating, and I wanted to know everything about it. So I followed Dr. Norton, I read all his articles, I watched all his videos, and then I started practicing on myself first. And I found that, I started with just counting calories and just, trying to get in the habit of counting calories, because before I'd never counted anything. I had just kind of been like, okay, this looks like a cup of rice. This looks like a serving of fish or chicken or whatever it might be. So I started watching portion sizes and reading nutrition labels, which sounds stupid coming from somebody who you would think would already have this knowledge. But being a personal trainer and just getting a certification, you don't get taught all those things. So I had to kind of reteach myself these processes, and he helped show me a lot of these ways. So I started doing it on my own, and I realized that this is working. I found something, it's working for me. I can find a way to replicate it, to do it for my clients. So I contacted him, and I decided, like, maybe I should work with him. Maybe I should see what this is about and learn from how he does things with his clients. So I contacted him, and of course, if you know anything about Dr. Norton, he's a very popular man, and he wasn't accepting new clients at the time. So he referred me a list of people that would be willing to be taking on new clients, and one of the names stood out for me, and that was Brooke Erickson. And I had seen her profile on bodybuilding.com, and I had heard about her, and I watched her story, and everything she overcame really spoke to me, but I wasn't aware that she was taking on clients, or that she even followed this way of, dieting, if you want to call it dieting, or, reaching physique goals or contest goals. So I reached out to her, I told her a little about myself, and she decided to work with me. So I started working with her, and she taught me a lot more than I had ever expected to learn when it comes to this style of eating. Not just how to count your macros and to train in a certain way, but she taught me about how to balance all these things together, that my training and my nutrition shouldn't consume my life. Like if I fall off one day, that's okay, because I'm supposed to be enjoying my life. I'm not supposed to be restricted and a slave to my training and my nutrition, so that I meet my goals no matter what, and sacrifices I may have with my family or my school or my friends. So that was really an eye-opener, and it really allowed me to evolve as a person and a personal trainer. So I started working with people at the beginning of this year in 2014, and I wanted to kind of test this theory of flexible dieting, and I wanted to use it on my clients to see how I could learn more from their experiences, because at this point I've only known what I've known from me. So I wanted to replicate it, and so I worked with a few people at the beginning of the year. One of my very good friends I worked with, and she actually prepared for one of her bikini competitions. It was an all-natural bikini competition at the beginning of the year, and she went to the competition. She placed first in her division, in her category, and she came runner-up for the overall. And to me, that was just amazing, because I had done it. I had done what I said I was going to do, and I helped somebody else see the same thing. So they gave me more confidence, and I started working with a couple other people, and slowly and surely I started doing the same process, and I started seeing that this is working. Not only for me, but it's working for my clients. So I wanted to preach about it. I wanted to tell everybody about everything it had to do with flexible dieting, because I believed in it so much. So fast forward to this summer, and I really started focusing on my business and building my brand, and I started receiving a little bit of flack from people, mainly people who on social media that I've been friends with, or family members that didn't really understand what I was doing, talking about, this flexible eating, this is like junk food, like you're eating junk, but how are you preaching about being healthy and fitness when you're eating junk? And the thing that they didn't seem to understand was that flexible dieting or flexible eating, or if it fits your macros, is not about eating how much junk you can fit into those macronutrients. It's about eating the good, whole, nutrient-dense foods daily. But if there's something that you want, you're allowed to have those things because they fit within your macronutrients. And, trying to explain that, some people get it right away, and some people don't. So it was kind of like this resistance that I felt from certain people, because a lot of people that follow flexible eating or dieting, or if it fits your macros, they boast about their meals of Pop-Tarts and, going out to eat and eating whole pizzas and, drinking all this beer and stuff. And while you can still do that and reach your goals, that's not the whole point of this. The point is to not be restricted in your food, to not have to be a slave to eating a specific type of food every single day, day in, day out. It's about having flexibility in your choices, that if there's something that you're wanting, you can have it right then and there, instead of restricting yourself, which we all know will make you eventually want to binge on it later. And when you get that first bite, you want more and more and more. And some people have self-control to not do that. I know that I don't. if I restrict myself and I tell myself I'm eating these foods every single day for X amount of weeks, and eventually I catch a whiff of pizza, or I want some mac and cheese, I will eat the entire container. I will eat the entire pizza because I want it that badly. And when you tell yourself you can't have something, it only makes you want it more. So because of all this stuff that's been going on, I got this idea in my head a couple weeks ago that, maybe I should do my own kind of case study about flexible eating versus clean eating. And if you don't know anything about science or research, case studies are generally not the most reliable sources of research because it's based on one person. But it does allow you to make inferences for replicating other things. It allows you to see how one variable will affect certain things on this person. So while this is not going to be a study that's done on a big sample or a large population, it's going to be done on myself. And of course, you just have to take my word. I'm going to be as truthful as I can. I'm going to be as honest as I can. I'm going to follow it to the T the best that I can. I am human, so I do expect some slip-ups. But I'm going to tell you about all those things. And I want to give you kind of like an inside view of everything that I go through when I start clean eating and then when I start flexible eating. So all of that is to say that I've decided to do this 2 weeks of clean eating. So 14 days eating clean, following the clean eating rules. Those rules I'll have listed on the blog website. And there are various things. I kind of had to come up with a consensus because clean eating doesn't really have a definite definition. It's very varied. It's very broad. I mean, some people think this way, some people think this way. There's a very wide spectrum, and I kind of had to find something in between. So a general consensus is what I came up with. And maybe it's not what you think clean eating is, but it's what I came to the conclusion of how I could meet both ends without going to either extreme. And then following those 2 weeks, I will start doing a flexible eating regimen. And that is specifically counting macronutrients, counting my calories, watching my fiber intake, which on clean eating I'm not going to be counting calories, which is going to be very difficult for me. But I hope that this will show me more insight to why people choose to eat clean. Because at this point, I've been doing flexible dieting for over a year now, and I kind of don't remember what it was like to eat clean. I remember the restrictions the most because that was the hardest part of it. But I don't remember my energy. I don't remember how I slept. I don't remember my training sessions. I don't remember any of those things. The things that I remember the most often are my cravings and my restrictions and feeling like I was failing all the time. So what to expect during this entire case study every day. I'd like to do a video blog every day. If that happens, I don't know. I am a full-time student and I have a business that I just started up, so my time is very crazy. My schedule is very hectic. I'm going to try my best to do a short video log. It won't be this long like this one is. This is an introduction one. But I want to give you kind of like a wrap up of the whole day. I will do a blog post every day, and each blog post will have things like my food log, what I ate that day, whether it's clean eating or flexible dining. And I will break it down at the end of the day, what my ending macros, calories, fiber, content, all that stuff was, regardless if it's clean eating or flexible eating. I'm also going to post my training log, what I'm doing right now as far as my training. My sleep quality, if you know me personally, you know I have some crazy sleep quality. I am a sleep talker, and I have some difficulty sleeping sometimes. So if you know me, you know those stories are pretty crazy. My weight. I know that some people probably don't agree with weighing themselves every day. If you've had eating disorders in the past, it's probably not something I'd recommend you doing. I do weigh myself every day, not because I'm crazy about what the scale says, but I like to see fluctuations because I know that if I wake up and I'm sore and I weigh a pound or two heavier and I'm extremely sore, like can barely sit down sore, I know that that's not because of something I ate yesterday or because of something I didn't do yesterday. I know it's because I'm sore. I know it's because I'm tired if I didn't sleep well. I know it's because of all these other factors. So I like to see that just for myself. That's the researcher in me. So I will post my weight every day. My water intake, it's typically a gallon anyway, but I'll still do that. My stress level, my cravings, and my emotions. This is going to be a big one for me. My stress level varies depending on my school schedule. My cravings, I mean, right now they're non-existent really, but I imagine I will probably have some strong cravings once I get into this clean eating. My emotions, I think that's going to be a big factor as well. Number one, I am a female, so I do get emotional. But especially around like my menstrual cycle, I know some people have problems getting too emotional, and I'm wondering how that will affect me with having a restricted diet. So I wanna do those emotions every day. And then anything else pertinent to what's going on in the day or how I'm feeling. And then each week, I know we're only doing 2 weeks here and 2 weeks there. So what I want to show each week is my starting progress pictures. So I'm going to have my pictures posted of what I look like when I start today. And then I will have all my body measurements, my circumference measurements, and then how I feel about each week going forward. So a week from today, I will post my new progress pictures, my new measurements, and how I feel about the whole week in general. So that's what you can expect day to day and weekly. My goal from this is I kind of have this theory that flexible dieting is just more sustainable and maintainable. I mean, I hear it from my clients, I hear it from family members. I have one of my best friends, she's been following this way of eating for, I don't know, maybe almost a year now. And she's never been overweight, she's never been crazy, underweight or anything. She's always been that normal range. But she asked me about it one day, and I told her, and she started following it. And she'll text me random days. She texted me today and say, I lost 4 pounds in this past month just doing what you're doing. And to me, that proves my point. So I guess my theory is that flexible eating or dieting is more sustainable than clean eating because you don't have restrictions placed in your diet. So I guess that's kind of what I want to show, not necessarily prove. But I'd also like to see what clean eating teaches me, because I don't feel like this way of eating is just like, should be stopped. I don't feel that way at all. If you like it and you enjoy it, then I don't think that you should stop doing it. But I wonder what it can teach me and show me. So, I'd like to get the whole perspective in general and just see what happens during this whole process. I kind of have to tell you about why I'm doing this right now. I've been wanting to compete for a long time in a fitness competition. Originally I thought I would compete in the NPC, I would do figure. But as my year has progressed, and that was, my end goal was to compete at a certain time frame, and I always told myself that, if I'm X amount of weeks out to this date and I'm ready, then I will do it. But if I'm not ready, then I would, pull back and, decide on a later date. I'm not going to stress my body or, ruin my health just to stay on a stage for a plastic trophy. So I finally decided I'm at a point in my life where I can do this, and I feel like it's attainable, and I feel like it wouldn't be a far stretch for me to compete. So I've decided to go with the WBFF. There's a show in Miami, Florida on November 15th, and this is kind of like my end goal. That's 8 weeks out from this week. So, 2 weeks of clean eating, 2 weeks of flexible eating, and then I have 4 weeks left to prepare for this competition. And I will probably end up using a combination of both styles of eating in order to get into this competition. But this is kind of like my accountability. It's proving to myself that I can do something. I set a goal, and I want to reach it. So, I guess that's it for now. I will be posting a blog post about all my beginning stats, what I did for today, and then tomorrow as well. So I hope you guys enjoy this. This will be a different process for me, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. And I hope it teaches you something just about the whole idea of dieting in general, training in general. And I hope it's productive for you, and that maybe you can use some of these principles or these lessons that I learned in your own life. So that's it for now. Thank you for tuning in, and I will talk to you later.